another cup of code, and on this one we are going to be creating a hello world Spring Boot application. So what we want to do is go to your browser and just type in start.spring.io, which will take you to the Spring Initializer, and we will scaffold our project. So before we continue, please do remember to like and subscribe for more tutorials like this, and I'll be creating more of these videos. And also please do comment, guys, and I would really appreciate it to hear your thoughts, what can be improved and all of those. And I do create Angular and Spring tutorials, so we see more of that in our development journey. So let's get right into it. And where we want to start off is on the project. We want to have a Maven project for our dependencies, and I have Java, obviously. And then the Spring Boot version, do recommend that always use the latest stable version, but currently I do have the 2.7.6, so that's what I'm going to use on my machine. And then on the project metadata, I want to pass in corp.zip code for my group, and artifact I want to have hello spring, and I want to have description hello spring project for Spring Boot. So packaging should be jar, that's fine, and the version will be Java 8, that's not a problem. And then after that we can add our dependencies, what we want to have there. Let's just have dev tools, and let's also have web, spring web, and let's also add timeleaf. So timeleaf will be the template engine which we're going to use, and we're going to see more dependencies being added here for Spring Security, Spring Data JPA, all of those we're going to have them there, but for now we can generate our project and we can save that. So a project is generated, and let's go ahead and extract that from our file system. Let's just extract everything there. Now we have our project. Now we go to the IDE. I do use Spring Tool Suite, so you can use any IDE that you feel comfortable with. And then I'm going to open the project on my side, and I want to have that, and let's open it, and let's click finish. Right, so let's just allow it to index. Updating my Maven project, it's busy indexing and it's doing its thing. Now everything looks good, everything looks fine. So we're gonna have the main.java, which where our packaging and our backend business logic is gonna sit. Then we're gonna have the resources package, which has the front end, the HTML, or the JSP. Then static will be your CSS, JavaScript, and all of those. And then the templates will be the pages that you would want to create for your project. Then applications or properties is where your config sits. And if you have a custom timeleaf where you have your template setting, you can just define that for timeleaf to pick up templates in a different location. But on this tutorial, we won't be doing that. So let's go ahead. What I want to start with is look at our main. Our main has Spring Boot application already there. So if you see, it has a lot of annotations into it. So we have Spring Boot configuration, enable auto configuration. So the default settings are already catered for by just using this annotation. So we don't have to worry about a lot of the configs. So what I want to do now is just to run the application, and it's going to be a Spring Boot app, and that should be fine. I'm running the application simply because I want to see that it's running, and all web applications respond to a request. So now the application is running, and there's no request mapping that we have. So if we go back to our browser and we say localhost 8080, and we go there, you see the server is responding, but this is it's clear, plain and simple. This application has no explicit mapping for our request. So that's the reason why it's throwing this exception. So we need to now create a request, a mapping in our application that tells it that if you get this type of request, this is how you should respond. So now we're going to create a controller package that is going to respond to that request. And let's just click finish, then we will have our package there. And then now I want to create a Java class, and I'm going to call it hello controller. And I want to generate some comments as well, so this looks good, and I'll click finish. So now I have my controller there, and I just want to have it as a REST controller, and I want to have a request mapping for it, and I want to make it API v1, and hello should be fine, should be sufficient. And then I want to map my request to let's just say get mapping, and I don't want it to default, I want it to go to that explicitly. Then now I want to set the response entity to be a string, and I want to say get hello, and this should be fine. Now we want to return a response entity, and this should be okay, and this should be hello spring, and let's just do that, and it should be fine. So now when we pass in api.v1 hello /, then it's going to hit this request mapping, and it's going to give us that response. So this is fine. Let's go back to our application, and here's the magic, guys. Because I'm using because the IDE that I'm using is that advanced, I can just save my changes, and Spring is going to reload, repackage my application. I can go back into my IDE, and I'm going to say API v1, and I'm going to say hello, and I'm not going to put the / so that you see that it's still breaking because there is no request that responds to this this service. So now I have the / added, and it says hello spring. So it's hitting our endpoint here, which is looking good. So this is a service response which has no problems, everything's fine. But let's say now you want to have return a view for your application. So now we're going to have another endpoint, and I'm going to call this dashboard, and dashboard is going to, rather than returning a service response, it's going to return a view for us. So we want to have a model and view response, and this will be get dashboard, that's what I'm going to call it, and this should be sufficient. So now I'm going to create a model, and I'm going to say model, and this will be a new model. So then for the model, we want to set the view name. So we're just going to create a view now. We're going to call it index. So then we want to add an object for our view. We're just going to give it a key of data, and then you're going to give this a hello spring. That's the data that we are passing in there. So now we're going to return this model. That's looking good, and everything looks happy. So now we just need to create this view, and we're going to go to template, and we want to create an HTML file, which is fine, and we're just going to call it index because that's what we want to have it as, index.html. Then we're going to click finish. So now we have that, and inside that we are going to, let's just make this an H1. So let's just say application dashboard, and let's close this, and now we want to have a text. So time live text, and we want this to be our data, which is what we passed in. That's the object that we passed in. So as data, so this data is going to be coming from this object right here, which is what we're passing to the view that we have here. And this is looking good. Now that it's reloaded, I don't need to rerun it. I can just navigate to dashboard, and you'll see that it goes straight to there. So now if I navigate to dashboard, it says application dashboard. Well, there's a typo there. Let's just go there and address it. Let's just say it should be dashboard. And now let me, should be fine by now. So now it's dashboard, hello spring. So now this is how you can have your um, hello world application, create REST endpoints, and we're gonna see more of the other HTTP methods that we can implement on our controller on the next tutorials. But for now, this should be good, it should be sufficient, give you an idea of how you can have your application running. But let's just make some tweaks here a bit. Say I want to have a JSON response on this this service here when I hit this endpoint. So let me just make a map here, and I'm making it a string and a string, and I'm just gonna call it response, and I'm gonna say this will be a hash map. Let's give me a hash map there. Okay, then response dot put, I want you to put data, and the data would be hello spring. So now I want to pass in response at this point. So that response should be like that, and now I just need to change the return type from response entity string to response entity map. So it should be that, and now it should be happy. Let's repackage that and redeploy. So now when I hit the get, you see that I get a JSON response, and it's looking like that, and everything is fine. So now say I want to pass a param into my dashboard. Now you've seen how we can make this a JSON response. That's fine, this should suffice. And then now let's just pass in a different, let's give it a different, let's pass in a param. Right now we can just call it a param. Let's call it param. It's a dashboard param, so that should be fine. Now we have a path variable that we're passing in. So this will be path variable, and we just call it a string param. Could be anything that you want to pass in to your service. That should be fine. And then let's just do that, and let's just do that, and I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna do, oh no, I passed this in the wrong thingy. I'm supposed to pass it here. Yes, sorry about that, guys. I'm supposed to pass this in the actual method. So we have the path variable string param. Now it's available here, and we can now save this, and then I don't want to hello from spring then param. Yeah, I think that should be good. So now let's go back to our, now when we say dashboard, it's still gonna give us this one, but then when we pass in a param, now look at this, we're just gonna say, let's just say zip code. Now it says hello from spring zip code. So that's the param that we have, path variable, and we can pass in QWERTY, and it's gonna say hello from spring QWERTY. So that's what we can have, and we'll build more, create more, and you'll see the different features and functionalities that we can do on a Spring application with microservices and the likes. So please do, guys, like and subscribe for more of these videos. See you in the next one. Cheers.